What if the last food you eat before bed could do more than simply satisfy your hunger? What if your evening meal could support the nutrients your brain needs while you sleep? And what if one of the most important things you can do for your memory after 60 isn't another pill, another expensive supplement, or another complicated brain training program? It could start with what you put on your plate. Now, let's be very clear. There is no single food that can magically repair your memory overnight. There is no bedtime snack that can cure Alzheimer's disease. And eating one particular food before bed does not guarantee that you'll wake up with a sharper memory. But your brain is highly active during sleep. Sleep is important for memory and cognitive health, and what you eat over time can influence your overall cardiovascular and metabolic health, both of which matter to the aging brain. In fact, research on Mediterranean-style and mind-style eating patterns has found associations between healthier diets and better cognitive outcomes in older adults, although researchers are still studying exactly how much diet can prevent or slow cognitive decline. So tonight, we're going to focus on 5 simple foods that can fit into a healthy evening routine for many adults over 60. And here's the interesting part. These foods aren't magic because you eat them right before bed. They're valuable because they provide nutrients associated with a healthy overall eating pattern. And I'll also explain how to eat them without turning your bedtime routine into a huge meal that could actually interfere with your sleep. So let's begin. First, why does sleep matter for memory? Before we talk about food, you need to understand something about sleep. Your brain doesn't simply shut down when you fall asleep. While you're sleeping, your brain remains active. Your body cycles through different stages of sleep, and these stages are involved in important processes related to learning, memory, mood, and restoration. This is one reason poor sleep can leave you feeling mentally foggy the next morning. You may wake up and think, "Why can't I remember what I was supposed to do? Why did I walk into this room? Why am I struggling to concentrate today?" Sometimes the issue isn't simply age. It can be sleep. The National Institute on Aging notes that older adults generally need around 7 to 9 hours of sleep, although individual needs vary. Poor sleep can affect alertness, mood, concentration, and memory. So if you're trying to protect your brain after 60, don't focus only on food. Focus on food and sleep ***. That's where our 5 foods come in. Food number 1, berries. Let's start with one of the most popular foods associated with brain-friendly eating. Berries, blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, raspberries. These small fruits contain fiber, vitamins, and plant compounds called polyphenols. And berries are specifically emphasized in the MIND eating pattern. Why? Because the MIND diet was designed around foods that researchers believe may support brain health. It emphasizes vegetables, particularly leafy greens, berries, whole grains, beans, nuts, and fish. Now, don't misunderstand this. Eating blueberries tonight does not mean your memory will suddenly become perfect tomorrow morning. That's not what the science says. But regularly including berries as part of an overall healthy eating pattern may be a smart choice. And berries have another advantage. They're naturally sweet. That makes them an excellent alternative to cookies, cakes, candy, and other highly processed desserts. Instead of reaching for a large bowl of ice cream late at night, you might choose a modest portion of berries with plain yogurt. That gives you a lighter option with protein and other nutrients. And if you want to make this even more practical, don't worry about finding an exotic berry. You don't need an expensive superfood. Use the berries that are available to you. Fresh or frozen can both be practical choices. Just watch out for products loaded with added sugar. A bowl of berries is very different from a sugary, berry-flavored dessert. How much berries at night? You don't need a giant bowl. A modest serving is enough. Think of berries as part of a snack, not a challenge. For example, a small bowl of berries with plain yogurt, or berries alongside a few nuts, or simply a small serving of fresh fruit if you're genuinely hungry. And remember, if eating late makes your reflux worse or interferes with your sleep, you don't need to force a bedtime snack. The goal isn't to eat at a specific time. The goal is to create a healthy overall routine. Hash food number 2, WLNUTS. Now let's move to another food that deserves attention. Walnuts. Walnuts contain healthy unsaturated fats, protein, fiber, vitamins, minerals, and plant compounds. They're also a source of omega-3 fatty acid called alpha-linolenic acid, or ALA. This is different from the EPA and DHA, omega-3 fats found in fatty fish. But walnuts can still be a nutritious addition to a balanced diet. And nuts are included in the MIND diet. That doesn't mean walnuts are a magic dementia treatment. They aren't, but they can replace less nutritious snack foods. And that's an important idea. Sometimes healthy eating isn't about adding one magical food. It's about replacing foods that don't provide much nutritional value. Imagine 2 bedtime routines. Routine A: cookies, chips, sugary drinks, and a large dessert. Routine B: a small serving of walnuts with fruit or plain yogurt. Routine B isn't automatically perfect, but it's generally much closer to the kind of nutrient-dense eating pattern recommended for healthy aging. The National Institute on Aging recommends nutrient-dense protein foods for older adults, including nuts and seeds, along with seafood, beans, eggs, and other options. Hash the portion matters. Here's where many people make a mistake. Walnuts are nutritious, but they're also energy-dense. That means you don't need a giant handful. A small portion can be enough. If you're trying to manage your weight, blood sugar, or overall calorie intake, portion size matters. And if you have a nut allergy, obviously don't eat walnuts. If you have difficulty chewing, choose an appropriate form such as finely chopped nuts or another safe food. Again, we're looking for practical nutrition, not extreme rules. Hash food number 3, plain yogurt. Our third food is simple. Plain yogurt. Why might yogurt make sense as an evening food? Because it can provide protein, calcium, and other nutrients. Some yogurts also contain live cultures. And for older adults, getting enough protein throughout the day is important for maintaining muscle and supporting healthy aging. But here's something interesting. We're talking about the brain, so why discuss muscle? Because your health isn't divided into separate boxes. Your physical health, metabolic health, cardiovascular health, sleep, mobility, and cognitive health are interconnected. A healthy diet supports your entire body. And yogurt can be a convenient food that fits into that bigger picture. But choose carefully. Many flavored yogurts contain significant amounts of added sugar. Instead, consider plain yogurt and add your own berries. Now you have protein, fruit, fiber, and a more naturally sweet flavor. You can even add a small amount of chopped walnuts. Suddenly, you've created a simple evening snack containing 3 of the foods we're discussing. Hash, what about Greek yogurt? Greek yogurt can be particularly convenient because many varieties contain more protein per serving than standard yogurt. But labels vary. Check the nutrition facts. Look at protein. Look at added sugar. Look at saturated fat. And consider your individual dietary needs. If you're lactose intolerant, you may prefer lactose-free yogurt or a fortified alternative. If you have kidney disease or another medical condition requiring dietary restrictions, don't automatically increase protein or potassium without discussing your needs with your healthcare professional. Hash food number 4, fatty fish. Now we come to one of the most important foods for a brain-supportive eating pattern. Fatty fish. Think salmon, sardines, trout, mackerel. These fish provide omega-3 fatty acids, including EPA and DHA. DHA is particularly important in the brain and other tissues. Research has examined omega-3 intake and cognitive health for years. Some studies suggest that people who consume more omega-3s from foods, such as fish, may have a lower risk of dementia and cognitive problems. But here's the important part. The evidence isn't perfect. The NIH Office of Dietary Supplements notes that some, but not all, research links higher dietary omega-3 intake from fish with lower risk of Alzheimer's disease, dementia, and other cognitive problems. More research is needed. So don't interpret this as, eat salmon tonight and prevent dementia. That's not what the evidence says. Instead, think bigger. Regularly including fish as part of a balanced dietary pattern may be a sensible choice for overall health. Turn fish into a bedtime meal. There's an important distinction. You don't necessarily need to eat salmon right before you go to sleep. In fact, a large meal immediately before bed may be uncomfortable for some people. Instead, make fish part of your regular dinner routine. You could have salmon with vegetables and whole grains several hours before bedtime. Then, if you're hungry later, have a small snack such as yogurt and berries. That's a much more practical approach. The Mind and Mediterranean dietary patterns include fish as part of an overall eating pattern, rather than treating it like a bedtime medicine. Food number 5, oats or another whole grain. Our fifth food is something many people overlook. Whole grains. And one easy example is oats. Oats contain fiber and can be part of a nutrient-dense breakfast or snack. Whole grains are emphasized in Mediterranean-style and Mind-style dietary patterns. And fiber is important for overall health. You don't need to eat a huge bowl of oatmeal immediately before sleeping. But if you prefer a small evening snack and tolerate it well, a modest serving of plain oats can be an option. You could combine oats with a few berries, a small amount of walnuts, and plain yogurt or milk, depending on your dietary needs. Now you're getting several nutrient-rich foods together. But once again, don't assume this combination will rebuild your brain overnight. The benefit comes from the overall dietary pattern and consistent healthy habits. Why these 5 foods work better as a pattern. Let's step back. What do these foods have in common? Berries, walnuts, plain yogurt, fatty fish, whole grains. They're all nutrient-dense foods, and several fit naturally into dietary patterns that have been studied for healthy aging. The Mind diet emphasizes leafy green vegetables, other vegetables, berries, whole grains, beans, nuts, and fish. Mediterranean-style eating emphasizes fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, fish, seafood, and healthy unsaturated fats. That's why I don't want you to think of these foods as 5 separate memory cures. Think of them as pieces of a larger picture. But what about leafy greens? You might be wondering, why didn't you include spinach or leafy greens in the 5 bedtime foods? That's because I don't necessarily want you eating a large plate of greens immediately before bed. But you absolutely should include leafy green vegetables in your overall diet. They're one of the signature foods emphasized by the Mind eating pattern. Leafy greens include spinach, kale, romaine lettuce, collard greens, and other dark green vegetables. Supported research has found associations between Mind Mediterranean-style diets and fewer signs of Alzheimer's-related brain pathology, with leafy green vegetables being particularly notable in one study. So don't forget your greens. Just think of them as part of lunch or dinner rather than something you have to eat at bedtime. The secret isn't actually the bedtime. Here's one of the most important things I want you to understand. You may have clicked this video because the title says, "Eat these foods before bed." But the bigger lesson is, your brain doesn't care about viral food trends. Your brain benefits from a healthy lifestyle. If you eat berries once before bed but spend the rest of the week eating highly processed foods, drinking excessive alcohol, getting little exercise, and sleeping poorly, one snack won't cancel everything out. On the other hand, if you consistently eat nutritious foods, stay active, manage your blood pressure, avoid smoking, sleep well, and stay socially and mentally engaged, you're supporting your overall brain health from multiple directions. That's much more powerful. What happens to your brain while you sleep? Let's go back to sleep. Sleep is important for memory. During sleep, your brain goes through processes involved in memory consolidation. That means sleep isn't wasted time. It's part of maintaining normal cognitive function. And poor sleep can affect concentration and memory. So if you're eating healthy foods but staying awake until 2 a.m. every night, you're missing another major part of the equation. For many adults over 60, improving sleep may be just as important as improving their diet. And if you consistently snore loudly, gasp during sleep, stop breathing according to a partner, or wake up exhausted despite enough time in bed, speak with a healthcare professional. Sleep apnea can interfere with sleep quality and deserves proper evaluation. Eat a huge meal before bed. Here's a mistake I don't want you making. Don't take the idea of brain foods before bed and turn it into a giant late-night meal. You don't need a huge bowl of oatmeal, a full plate of salmon, 3 handfuls of walnuts, a large serving of yogurt, and a giant bowl of berries, all at 10:30 p.m. That's unnecessary. And for some people, a large meal close to bedtime can cause discomfort or worsen reflux. Instead, if you're hungry, keep the snack modest. And if you're not hungry, you don't need to eat simply because a video told you to. A simple bedtime snack. Here's one example. Take a small bowl of plain yogurt. Add a modest serving of berries. Add a few chopped walnuts. That's it. Simple. You don't need sugar. You don't need honey. You don't need a supplement powder. And you don't need an expensive brain formula. If you're hungry, this can be a reasonable snack for many people. But remember that individual needs differ. If you have diabetes, monitor how foods affect your blood glucose and follow your healthcare professional's recommendations. If you have kidney disease, heart failure, reflux, food allergies, or another condition requiring dietary restrictions, your best choices may be different. What if you have diabetes? This is especially important for viewers over 60. Fruit and yogurt can be nutritious, but they still contain carbohydrates. And everyone's blood glucose response can differ. If you have diabetes, don't assume that a healthy food means you can eat unlimited quantities. Portion size still matters. Look at the total carbohydrate content. Consider added sugar. And follow the meal plan provided by your healthcare professional. You don't need to fear fruit. You simply need to understand how it fits into your overall diet. What if you have high blood pressure? Your brain and your heart are connected. Blood vessels supply your brain with oxygen and nutrients. That's one reason managing cardiovascular risk factors is important for cognitive health. High blood pressure is a major risk factor for stroke and can contribute to vascular problems that affect cognition. So if you want to protect your memory, don't focus only on blueberries. Pay attention to your blood pressure. Eat less highly processed food. Limit excessive sodium. Stay physically active. Take prescribed medications correctly. And attend your medical appointments. NIA research notes that controlling blood pressure can help reduce the risk of mild cognitive impairment, an important precursor to dementia for some people. That's a much bigger lesson than any single food. What about memory supplements? Now let's talk about supplements. You may see products advertised as brain boosters, memory enhancers, Alzheimer's prevention, nighttime brain repair. Be careful. The fact that a bottle contains a nutrient found in brain-healthy foods doesn't mean the supplement will produce the same effect. The NIA notes that no vitamin or supplement is currently recommended as a proven way to prevent Alzheimer's disease or cognitive decline. And supplements can interact with medications. So before you start taking a supplement for memory, discuss it with your doctor or pharmacist. Food first is often a much better starting point. Your simple 5-food evening plan. Let's create a practical routine. You don't need all 5 foods every night. Instead, rotate them. Option 1. Plain yogurt plus berries plus a few walnuts. Option 2. A small bowl of oats with berries and a few nuts. Option 3. A balanced dinner several hours before bed containing fatty fish, vegetables, and a whole grain. Option 4. A small portion of fruit with a protein-rich food appropriate for your diet. Option 5. If you're not hungry, don't eat. Simply focus on getting a good night's sleep. That's an important point. The goal isn't to eat more food. The goal is to make better choices when you do eat. What should you avoid night? Let's talk about the other side. If you're trying to support brain health and sleep, you may want to limit large sugary desserts, heavy fried foods, very large meals, excessive alcohol, highly processed snacks, and too much caffeine late in the day. This doesn't mean you can never eat these foods. It means they shouldn't dominate your routine. A healthy diet is about patterns, not perfection. Forget water. Hydration matters too. But don't force huge quantities of water right before bed. That can lead to frequent bathroom trips and interrupted sleep. Instead, stay appropriately hydrated throughout the day. And if your doctor has given you specific fluid restrictions, follow those instructions. The 4 habits that may matter more than one food. If your goal is long-term brain health, I want you to remember 4 habits. Number 1, sleep. Aim for a consistent sleep schedule and enough sleep for your needs. Number 2, physical activity. Regular movement supports cardiovascular and overall health. Number 3, blood pressure control. Know your numbers and follow your treatment plan. Number 4, healthy eating. Choose vegetables, fruits, whole grains, beans, nuts, fish, and other nutrient-dense foods regularly. These habits work together. What if your memory is getting worse? This is one of the most important warnings in this entire video. If you're noticing occasional forgetfulness, that can happen with normal aging. But if memory problems are becoming frequent or interfering with everyday life, don't simply start eating blueberries and hope the problem disappears. Talk to your healthcare professional. Memory problems can have many possible causes. Sleep problems, medication side effects, vitamin deficiencies, depression, thyroid problems, hearing loss, other medical conditions, and neurodegenerative diseases. Some causes may be treatable. That's why getting evaluated matters. Don't assume every memory change is just aging. Your 7-day brain health challenge. Here's something simple you can try. For the next 7 days, don't obsess about eating a perfect bedtime food. Instead, focus on the whole evening. Eat a balanced dinner. Include vegetables. Choose a nutritious protein source. Include whole grains when appropriate. Have fruit instead of a highly processed dessert. If you're hungry later, choose a small snack such as plain yogurt with berries and a few walnuts. Avoid excessive alcohol. Avoid too much caffeine late in the day. Turn off stressful screens before bed. And aim for a consistent sleep schedule. At the end of 7 days, ask yourself, do I feel more rested? Am I eating fewer highly processed snacks? Am I getting more fruits and vegetables? Am I sleeping more consistently? Those changes are far more meaningful than chasing a miracle food. Final message. So if you're over 60, what should you eat before bed to support brain health and memory? You can consider simple, nutrient-rich options such as berries, walnuts, plain yogurt, fatty fish as part of your regular meals, and whole grains such as oats. But remember the most important part. These aren't magic memory foods. They don't repair your brain overnight. They don't guarantee protection from dementia. And you don't have to eat them at a specific hour to benefit from their nutrients. Their real value comes from fitting them into a healthy dietary pattern. A pattern that includes vegetables, fruits, whole grains, beans, nuts, fish, healthy fats, and appropriate sources of protein. That is much closer to the Mediterranean and mind-style eating patterns that researchers have studied in relation to cognitive health. And there's another lesson I want you to remember. Your brain isn't separate from the rest of your body. What's good for your heart can often be good for your brain. Managing blood pressure matters. Staying active matters. Not smoking matters. Getting quality sleep matters. And eating a nutritious diet matters. So don't search for one miracle food. Build a lifestyle that gives your brain the best possible environment to stay healthy as you age. And tonight, before you reach for that bag of cookies or sugary dessert, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, could I choose something more nourishing? Maybe a few berries. Maybe plain yogurt. Maybe a small portion of walnuts. And if you're not hungry, don't eat. Just turn off the lights, put away your phone, and give your brain something even more valuable. A good night's sleep. Because healthy aging isn't about doing one perfect thing. It's about making small, smart choices again and again. If you found this video helpful, share it with someone over 60 who wants to protect their memory and stay mentally sharp. And tell us in the comments, which of these 5 foods do you already eat regularly? Berries, walnuts, yogurt, fish, or oats? Your answer could give another viewer a simple idea for their own routine. And if you want more practical, easy-to-understand health information for adults over 50 and 60, subscribe to Sharp 50's official asterisk and turn on notifications. Remember, feed your body well, protect your heart, move your body, sleep well, and give your brain the care it deserves. Because getting older doesn't mean you have to stop investing in your health. It means every healthy choice matters even more. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.